The city was dead. Buildings stood like broken teeth against a gray sky. The wind blew softly, carrying ash and smoke through the air like ghosts of the past. Rubble crunched under heavy boots as Darren, a human scavenger, moved carefully through. The ruins. His breath echoed inside his old, scratched helmet. His suit was patched, stained, and worn, but it kept him alive. He wasn't here to be a hero. He was here for scrap metal, fuel cells, power cores. Anything valuable left after the alien war had turned this city into dust. He adjusted his flashlight. A flicker of movement made him stop. He aimed the beam into the rubble, slowly, carefully. Nothing, just silence. Then a sound. A whisper. So soft, so small, he almost thought it was in his mind. "Please, take me and Mama." He turned fast, heart pounding. His gloved hand reached for the sidearm at his belt. But he saw no threat. Just broken stones, twisted pipes, and a collapsed building. Then the voice came again. "Human, please." It wasn't a hallucination. He followed the sound cautiously. Carefully, beneath a fallen steel beam and cracked tiles, he found a narrow gap. Smoke came out of it, barely visible. He crouched low and crawled through the tight space. On the other side, everything changed. There, in a hollow chamber under the ruin, sat a tiny alien girl. No more than 5 or 6 years old in human terms. Her skin was pale lavender, her eyes glowing softly blue, her face covered in dirt and ash. She clutched a limp, armed her mother's hand. The mother wasn't moving. The girl looked up at Darren, terrified but desperate. He took a step forward. The little girl flinched, shielding her mother. "I'm not here to hurt you," Darren said, his voice calm. He removed his helmet, showing his face. Human, tired, but kind. The girl blinked. "You, human." "Yes, I heard you. I came." She nodded slowly. "Mama, she's hurt. Please, don't leave us." Darren knelt beside them. The mother's breathing was shallow. A glowing wound pulsed on her side, some kind of energy burn, still fresh. She was bleeding slowly from her mouth, her body limp but not gone. Darren pulled out a scanner from his pack. The reading was bad, very bad. She needed medical help. "Fast, can you move?" he asked the girl. She shook her head. "My legs, they don't work." Since the building fell, he looked again. Her legs were bent, strangely, possibly broken. She had dragged herself here to stay beside her mother. "Okay," he said gently. "I'll carry you both, but we need to move, now." She cried, suddenly afraid. "They'll come back. The ones who made the fire." Darren's eyes narrowed. "Who?" The girl shook her head. "Bad aliens. They want Mama, not me. But Mama won't let them take me." He looked at the glowing wound again. It wasn't just from an explosion, was a mark. A brand of some sort. Whoever these bad aliens were, they had marked the mother. Maybe to track her. Maybe worse. "I won't let them take either of you," he said firmly. He took out a small emergency stretcher from his pack and placed the mother on it. Then he gently lifted the girl, who whimpered in pain but didn't protest. He wrapped a thermal blanket around her. "What's your name?" he asked as he carried her. "Luma," she whispered. "That's a strong name." She looked at him with wide eyes. "What's yours, Darren?" "No." She hesitated, then quietly said, "Thank you, Darren." He smiled, but it faded fast. As they reached the surface, his visor showed movement far down the street. Not human. Not friendly. A cold chill ran through him. They were being watched. "Hold on tight," he whispered. "This isn't over yet." Hush. Rained from the sky as he ran into the ruins, carrying the girl and pulling her mother behind him. But something had changed inside him. He came here looking for scrap, Instead, he had found a small voice in the ashes, and he had answered it. The wind howled louder as Darren moved through the empty streets. Luma in his arms and her unconscious mother dragging behind on the makeshift stretcher. He didn't know exactly why he was doing this. He was no hero. He was a salvager, a loner, a man who avoided trouble. But the look in that little girl's eyes, the fear, the hope had done something to him. She was shivering now. Even with the blanket, the cold was sinking in. Darren stopped behind a collapsed building and scanned the area. The drone blip on his visor had disappeared, but that didn't mean they were safe. He found a narrow basement door half buried in debris. With effort, he cleared the path, opened it, and carried them both down into the dark. Inside, it smelled of mold and dust, but it was dry and hidden. Darren laid the girl gently on a pile of old fabric and lit a small lantern. He checked her legs bruised, swelling, but not bleeding. He wrapped them with what supplies he had. Then he turned to the mother. She was still breathing. Barely, he pulled a stim patch from his pack and placed it over the glowing wound on her chest. It hissed softly, releasing medicine. Her body jerked, eyes fluttering, lips moving without sound. Luma crawled closer, dragging herself beside her. Mother. She held her hand and whispered, "It's okay, Mama. He's helping." Darren looked closely now. The alien woman had markings on her skin, tattoos or symbols, maybe even royal seals. And the necklace around her neck didn't look like ordinary jewelry. It had a glowing blue stone in the center, pulsing like a heartbeat. "What are you two doing out here?" Darren muttered. "You don't look like refugees." Big eyes met his. "You don't know who we are, do you?" Darren raised an eyebrow. "Should I?" She hesitated. "Mama." She was once called the voice of Galeris. He froze. ZHE Laris. He had heard the name in war reports years ago, an alien. Kingdom known for peace, knowledge, and ancient tech. They had stayed neutral during the Great Alien Wars, but then they vanished. People believed the Gellerans were wiped out, but this girl was saying her mother was the voice. That meant leader, or at least a powerful figure. Darren took a slow breath. "Why are they hunting you?" Luma looked down, 'cause Mama refused to give them the key. "What key?" "The one in her necklace," she whispered. "It opened something. A place. A vault. I don't know. But the bad ones, they want it." Darren's eyes went to the glowing pendant. It wasn't just for show. The mother stirred again. Her lips moved, barely audible. Darren leaned closer. "Human." She croaked, her voice weak. "Protect her." "I am," Darren replied. "But who's after you?" Her eyes opened a little more. There was pain. But also pride. "They called themselves the Bone Hunters," she said. "Mercenaries. Paid to destroy our people. Now, they want my daughter." Luma's voice trembled. "They said I'm the last one. Of our kind." Darren sat back, processing everything. This child, this girl he pulled from under rubble, was possibly the last living heir of a forgotten alien race. And someone wanted her dead, or worse, captured. And now, Darren had involved himself. He could walk away. He could leave them. Nobody would know, but something in his chest tightened when he looked at Luma. She had trusted him. She had asked with a shaking voice, "Please take me and Mama." He couldn't walk away now. "All right," he said, standing. "We'll stay. Here tonight, you both need rest. Tomorrow, I'll find a safer place. I know some old outposts. Might be a working med station there." Luma nodded, eyes already closing from exhaustion, as Darren prepared a small heater and placed a cracked water bottle near her. He looked at the entrance above. The city outside was dangerous. The Bone Hunters could return at any time. He'd need a plan? Maybe call in an old favor. Maybe dash beep. His visor blinked. A small red light flashed. Motion detected. Outside, near the entrance. Not human. He shut off the lantern, grabbed his sidearm, and moved to cover the girl and her mother with spare fabric. As he crouched in the shadows, the girl whispered faintly, "They're back." Darren whispered back, "Not for long." The human had made his choice. Now, he would protect what remained of Galeris, even if it meant war. The basement walls trembled slightly. Darren didn't move. His back pressed against the cold wall, weapon in hand, breaths shallow. His visor screen showed red motion dots creeping closer to the surface entrance above them. 2 targets, he whispered. Not drones, not human. Moving slow. The little alien girl, Luma, lay under the fabric pile beside her unconscious mother. She was awake now, eyes wide and glowing faintly with fear. "They smell Mama," she whispered. "They always smell her." Through walls, Darren frowned. "What are they? Soldiers?" She shook her head. "Hunters. Bone hunters. They track royal blood." Darren's jaw tightened. He moved silently to the staircase, climbed 3 steps, and peeked up through the cracks in the door. Outside, night had fallen. The streets were dark, silent, except for the sound of soft, clawed feet scraping across concrete. He saw 2 tall, armored figures moving slowly. Their eyes glowed yellow, and their weapons looked organic, more like living bone than metal. One of them paused, sniffed the air, and turned toward the basement door they knew. Darren ducked down quickly. "Change of plans," he said to Luma. "We can't stay. Can you hold on to me?" She nodded, without hesitation. "I won't let go." Darren slung his pack over one shoulder, grabbed the mother's stretcher rope, and tightened his grip on Luma with the other. With one last look at the broken room, he whispered, "Let's go." He kicked open the basement door. The bone hunters reacted instantly. They turned with sharp, insect-like speed, and one of them hissed something in a guttural, alien language. The second raised his weapon, but Darren didn't wait. He ran. The girl held tight around his neck, silent but shaking. Darren pulled the mother's stretcher behind him, the wheels barely holding together over the cracked road. Sparks flew. One of the bone hunters fired. The projectile missed by inches, exploding a street lamp into pieces. Darren turned a sharp corner and ducked into a narrow alley. He knew this part of the city. He had scavenged here months ago. "There's a tunnel ahead," he said, panting. "It connects to the underground train line. Might still be open." Behind them, the footsteps got louder, faster. They weren't walking anymore. They were running. Darren threw down a small mine from his belt-tan. Old human defense tool. It beeped once and stuck to the alley wall as he cleared the next turn. The mine exploded. The shockwave slammed into his back, pushing him forward. He stumbled, nearly dropping the girl, but didn't stop. He had no time to look back. They reached a rusted door covered in graffiti and ash. Darren kicked it hard once, twice, and it creaked open. The tunnel was dark, full of dust and old wires, but it was their only chance. They slipped inside. He shut the door and jammed a broken metal pipe through the handles. For a few seconds, silence, then dash boom. A thud slammed into the door. The pipe bent but held. Luma whimpered. Darren gently touched her arm. "We're okay. For now." He lit a small flashlight and led them deeper into the tunnel. The place smelled like rust and forgotten things. Ancient lights flickered weakly on the ceiling. "Where are we going?" Luma asked softly. "There's a maintenance station ahead. Old human bunker. Might still be locked, might still be secure. And if it's not, then we keep moving." She nodded bravely. "Mama is still breathing. I can feel it." Darren looked down at the mother. She was pale now. The glow on her wound was dimming. He had to get her help soon. They walked in silence for several minutes. Every sound, every drip of water or creak of metal felt like danger, but no one followed. Not yet. Finally, Darren spotted it, a half-buried blast door with a faded human symbol. He scanned it with his wrist device. The panel flickered too. Life code required, he cursed under his breath. Great. He typed in a few old override codes he remembered from Earth's outpost systems. Wrong, wrong. Then green light. Access granted. The heavy door groaned open. Inside was a small room shelving units. A powered cot, broken supplies, and an old med station pod. Darren placed the mother gently inside the pod and pressed the activation button. The machine buzzed. Scanning her body, an old AI voice spoke. Patient critical. Emergency protocol initiated. Stabilizing. Luma sat on the floor, finally breathing properly. Darren slumped against the wall. His muscles burned. His head throbbed. But they had made it. We're safe for now, he said quietly. Luma nodded, her voice barely a whisper. Thank you, human. Then she said something that made him stop breathing for a second. Are you going to leave us now? Darren turned to her, eyes hard. No, not now, not ever. For the first time since he met her, she smiled. Just a little dot outside in the far-off streets. The bone hunters sniffed the air again. They were close, but Darren was ready. The emergency pod glowed with soft blue light. Inside it, the alien mother lay still, her breathing now steadier than before. The pod's automed system had cleaned her wounds, stopped the bleeding, and connected her to old human medicine lines. It was only keeping her alive for now. Darren watched the screen carefully. Her vitals were low, but stable. Luma sat nearby on the floor, hugging her knees. Her eyes were fixed on her mother. She hadn't spoken for a long time. The bunker around them was small and dusty. The air smelled old, but it was safe, thick metal walls. No windows. Only one entrance, which Darren had sealed with crates and a metal lock bar. He checked his sidearm, then checked it again. He didn't trust silence. Silence meant danger was waiting. He knelt beside the girl. You okay? She looked up. Mama's not dying anymore. Not yet, Darren said softly. But she needs real care. This pod just slowed things down. Not enough to heal her. Luma lowered her head. She was strong. Before the burning started. She protected me when the soldiers came. What soldiers? The bone hunters, Luma whispered. They came with weapons. They asked Mama to give them the key. She refused. So they destroyed the palace. Darren's eyes narrowed. The palace. Luma hesitated, then said, We lived in the Crystal Garden. My mother ruled there. The others called her the voice of the sky. Darren froze. That title again. He stared at the glowing necklace still around the mother's neck. He hadn't touched it yet, but now it pulled at his curiosity even more. The blue stone in its center pulsed slowly, like it was alive. What is that necklace? He asked gently. You called it a key. Luma nodded. Mama said it unlocks something. I don't know what, but the bone hunters want it. That's why they keep chasing us. Darren looked at the pod again. The woman was still unconscious. But her fingers moved slightly slowly, reaching toward her chest. She's awake, he said. He leaned closer to her face. Hey, KU, hear me. The alien woman's eyes fluttered open. They were a deep silver, full of exhaustion but also wisdom. Her lips moved. Human, she whispered. Double quotes, yes. I'm the one who pulled you both from the ruins. She tried to sit up, but Darren gently held her shoulder down. You need to rest. My daughter, is she safe? She's here. he said. "She's watching you." The woman turned her eyes. When she saw Luma, her face relaxed just a little. "You've protected her," she said, barely audible. "I did what I could," Darren answered. "But I need to understand what I've stepped into. Who are you? Why are these hunters chasing your daughter?" The woman swallowed hard, then slowly reached for her necklace. She touched the glowing gem. "My name is Cyril," she said. "I was once the voice of Galeris, a council leader, a keeper of the old vaults." "Vaults?" Darren asked. She nodded. "Galeris guarded knowledge secrets of the galaxy. Ancient machines, star core data. Things older than both our species. This necklace is a living key to the final vault, and the bone hunters want that. They were hired by those who fear what's inside," she said. "They unlock the vault first, they can twist everything we protected." Darren sat back. This was worse than he thought. He wasn't just protecting a child anymore. He was holding the last key to something that could shift the galaxy's balance of power. "Then why give it to your daughter?" he asked. Cyril looked at Luma. "She is the last of our line. My voice will fade, but hers will carry forward. If she lives." Darren rubbed his face. "And now I'm the only thing standing between her and the people trying to erase her." Cyril's hand touched his. "You didn't have to save us, but you did. That means something." Darren didn't know what to say. For years, he had lived alone, keeping his head down, surviving one day at a time. He didn't believe in fate or destiny. But now, he was looking into the eyes of an alien leader and a child who trusted him more than anyone. He stood up. "There's a way out of this. I know an old dropship buried in the outer desert. If I can get it working, I'll fly you both off this world." Cyril smiled faintly. "That is a great risk. I've taken worse." Darren lied. "I'll leave at dawn. You both stay hidden." Luma reached out and grabbed his sleeve. "Please come back," she said. "I will," he said. "You have my word." As Darren prepared for his next move, something strange happened. The blue gem in the necklace pulsed brighter and, for just a moment, his visor picked up a signal. Coordinates. Locked deep in the stone. He stared at it. Stunned, that vault wasn't just a myth. It was real. Darren didn't sleep that night. He sat near the sealed entrance of the bunker, holding his rifle across his lap. Outside, the city remained quiet, but that didn't comfort him. Quiet often meant eyes were watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Behind him, the soft hum of the medpod still echoed. Cyril, the alien mother, was unconscious again, her body saving energy. The machine kept her alive, but just barely. In the corner, Luma slept curled in a blanket, breathing gently. For the first time since Darren had met her, she looked peaceful. Her forehead no longer wrinkled in fear. Her hands no longer gripped her knees. She was just a child now. Tired, broken child. But a child all the same. Darren leaned his head back and sighed. What had he gotten himself into? He was just a salvager. He didn't know how to protect royalty or fight mercenaries trained to hunt alien leaders. But when that little girl had whispered, "Please take me and Mama," something inside him had changed. He stood quietly and walked to a storage cabinet. Inside, he found some old rations, powdered protein, water packs, and a half-crushed chocolate. Bar taught he opened the bar and placed it next to Luma. Then he sat back down and waited. When morning came, faint light slipped through the cracks in the bunker ceiling. Luma opened her eyes slowly. The smell of chocolate made her nose twitch. She looked around, confused. Then she saw Darren sitting nearby, watching her with a calm smile. She blinked. "Is that for me?" "Yeah," he nodded. "It's sweet. Humans like it when we feel sad." She picked up the bar carefully, like it was treasure. Then she bit into it. Her eyes widened. It's warm. It used to be better when fresh, Darren said with a chuckle. But hey, bunker chocolate is better than nothing. Luma laughed softly. It was the first real laugh Darren had heard from her. That laugh made him feel like, maybe there was still hope in this burned world. Later, he sat with her, showing her how to use a basic data pad. This button, he said, pointing, is for scanning maps. This one is for communication. You press this one if something happens and you can't speak. Luma listened carefully. Her fingers were small but fast. Can I send messages? To who? I don't know, she said. Anyone who might help. Darren hesitated. He didn't want her signal picked up by the bone hunters, but he didn't want to shut her down either. I'll show you how to make a safe message, he said. But only when I say it's okay. She nodded. He opened another drawer and pulled out a small Toyan old Earth spinner made for human kids. He handed it to her. What's this? A game. You spin it, just for fun. She placed it on the ground and gave it a twist. It spun fast and glowed blue. Her smile returned. It's beautiful. Yeah, even the smallest things can make us smile, Darren said quietly. Hours passed. Sorrel's condition was unchanged. Darren fixed what he could, recharge the generator, checked the air filters, and reinforced the door. But time was running out. He had to reach the dropship hidden outside the city soon. If he didn't, there would be no escape. Before leaving, he cooked something warm from the ration packs, a thick soup. It didn't taste great, but it had nutrients. Luma sat beside him, carefully feeding a spoonful to her mother. She saved me, Luma said suddenly. Back when the fire started, the sky was red and the ground was shaking. She covered me. With her own body, Darren didn't speak. He simply listened. She was powerful, Luma continued. Everyone listened to her. But when she said no to the bone hunters, they turned everyone against us. She did the right thing, Darren said. I know, Luma whispered. But now we're all alone. Darren placed a hand on her shoulder. Not anymore. She looked at him, eyes shining with tears. Do you promise? I do, he said. I'll get you both out of here. Luma leaned against him, quiet and trusting. It was a moment Darren hadn't expected, but one that changed him. He wasn't just a protector anymore. He was becoming something more. Maybe a father figure. Or maybe just the only human willing to stay. Either way, he wasn't giving up. Before sunset, he stood at the door, preparing to leave. Luma crawled to him, holding something small in her hand, crystal shard shaped like a star. This was mine. From our garden, keep it with you. Darren took it. Thank you. She looked up. Come back soon. I will, he said firmly. Then he stepped out into the dying light toward the desert. Toward danger, and behind him, a small, alien girl. Believed in him, that was enough. The sun was low over the broken desert. Darren moved quickly, his eyes sharp, his rifle ready. Each step crunched over ash and dry bones scattered across the sand. The air smelled like rust and smoke, reminders of the war that had burned everything. His breath echoed in the silence inside his helmet. He checked his scanner. No signals. Yet he kept going. He had to reach the buried dropship. It was his only plan left, the only way to get Luma and her mother off the planet. But time was short. Cyril was dying, and the bone hunters were too close. After an hour of hiking through cracked earth and shattered steel, he reached the spot. There it was, half covered in sand and metal debris, a small Earth-made dropship. Old, but not useless. He pulled off the cover and climbed inside. The ship creaked like it hadn't been touched in years. Wires hung like vines. Dust coated every surface. He coughed. Come on, he muttered. You just need to fly once. He tapped the control panel. The screen flickered dead. He groaned and pulled out a backup power core from his bag. 15 minutes later, the ship coughed to life. Engines rumbled softly, and green lights blinked across the dash. It was working. His face broke into a smile for the first time in days, but then, beep, a signal. Not from him. It's not from Luma. Incoming transmission, unknown source. He checked the frequency. It wasn't Bone Hunter Tech, it was human. Darren blinked. Human. He opened the channel. A voice crackled through. Darren Holt. This is Commander Brack. From the neutral salvage colony in Sector 9. We received your distress ping. Darren frowned. I didn't send one. Someone using your old code did, the commander replied. A young alien girl. Darren's blood ran cold. Is she safe? Brack asked. Darren's voice hardened. Where is she? Don't worry. A rescue patrol picked her up near your bunker. She's fine. It's bringing her and her mother. To base now? No. Darren said sharply. No one was supposed to move them. Brack paused. She said you needed help. Darren's hand trembled on the console. That wasn't her. She'd never signal without me telling her. The line went quiet. Then Brack whispered, Oh no. The signal cut. Darren's heart dropped. It was a trap. He jumped out of the ship and ran fast through smoke and wind. Toward the city, he didn't stop. His feet burned, lungs ached, but he kept going. Images of Luma flashed through his mind, her tiny smile, her trust, her gift, the little crystal star. He reached the outer edge of the ruins as night fell. Then he saw it. Smoke, black, thick, fresh. The bunker was burning. No. Darren whispered. He charged through the wreckage. The door was blown open. Flames licked the walls. The med pod was cracked. Sparks flew from shattered lights. Luma, he shouted. No answer. Sarah, still silence. He coughed, waving smoke. From his face, his visor cracked from the heat, but he pressed forward. Then he found something. A small blood trail, tiny footprints. Dragged. Marks. They had been taken. Darren collapsed to his knees. He had failed, but then he saw it near the door. A single glowing object in the ash dot the star. The crystal star Luma had given him. She had dropped it, or left it. He picked it up and clenched it in his fist. His eyes burned not from the smoke but from rage 10 miles away. In the broken towers of an old government building, the bone hunters gathered around to prisoners. Luma sat tied beside her unconscious mother, staring at the floor. A tall alien in black armor leaned close. Little one. He said in a cold, deep voice, Where is the vault? I don't know, she whispered. He chuckled. You are the key. We don't need to ask much longer. Behind him, a soldier activated a strange machine. It hummed with energy, pointed at Cyril's necklace. The tall alien grinned. Your mother was wise to hide, but not wise enough. Whispered, Darren will come for us. The alien laughed. He's too late, but in the shadows, above the tower. A scope focused on the alien leader's head. A finger pulled back the trigger, and Darren Holt, dusty, bleeding, furious, had arrived. Rain began to fall over the dead city. Not soft rain, heavy, sharp drops that hit the ground like glass. Smoke from the burning bunker was now washed into the streets, and the scent of fire and dust clung to the wind. From the roof of a ruined tower, Darren Holt lay in the dark, watching the bone hunters through his scope. He had no backup. No army. Just one rifle, one pistol, 3 grenades, and a fire in his chest that wouldn't go out below. Luma was tied to a pillar beside her mother. The woman wasn't moving. Luma sat silently, but her head was up. She wasn't crying. Darren whispered. To himself, you held on for this long, kid. Just a little longer. Inside the tower, the leader of the bone hunters stepped forward. He held Sorel's necklace in his clawed hand. The key, its blue gem, pulsed brightly now. The vault's location was opening coordinates blinking on their console. The hunter smiled. Soon the secrets of the ancients will be ours. With this power, we will reshape the galaxy. Luma spat at his feet. You won't win. The hunter grabbed her by the chin. You're brave, but no one's coming for you. And just then crack. A single shot tore through the window. The hunter's head snapped back. He dropped like stone. Luma gasped. The guards spun, shouting. Another shot, a second bone hunter collapsed. Panic spread. And from the sky, a shadow dropped through the smoke. Darren landed on the top floor balcony, rifle in hand, face covered in dirt and blood. His eyes were burning with rage. Let the girl go, he said, stepping forward slowly. You've already lost. They didn't listen. One alien fired. Darren rolled behind a pillar and tossed a flash grenade. Boom. Light exploded. Screams followed. Darren rushed forward, firing left and right with precision. He moved like a ghost, his footsteps silent. His aim deadly. 2 more bone hunters fell, but one grabbed Luma and held a knife to her throat. Drop it, human. The last one shouted. Darren froze. Luma's eyes widened. Her voice trembled. Darren dropped his rifle. All right, he said, stepping closer. You win. Let her go. The bone hunter sneered. You're just one man. Darren smiled. Yeah, but I'm human. In one swift move, he pulled a hidden pistol from his boot and shot the alien right between the eyes. The creature collapsed, twitching. Luma tumbled forward into Darren's arms. She sobbed once, then held him tightly. I knew you'd come back. He held her close. Told you I would. He rushed to Sorel's side. She was still breathing barely. He placed the necklace back around her neck. Her eyes opened slowly. You came. I said I would. She smiled weakly. Take her. Take Luma far from here. Darren shook his head. We're all going. The dropship is ready. Her hand touched his chest. You've done enough, human. She's yours now. Protect her. Always. Her fingers went still, and just like that, the voice of Galeras was gone. Luma sobbed. Falling against her mother, Darren placed his hand on her back. Then he picked her up, held her tightly, and walked out into the rain. An hour later, the dropship lifted into the sky. Luma sat beside him, wrapped in a blanket, staring out the window. Where are we going? She asked. Someplace safe, Darren replied. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere you can laugh again. She looked at him. Are you? My father now. He blinked. He had no blood ties to her. No reason to stay. But in this moment, something deeper than blood connected them. I am, he said softly. She smiled. Then, I'm not alone anymore. No, Darren said. You're not. The dropship soared higher. Behind them, the ruins of Galeras faded into the clouds. Ahead, a new future waited. A future built not from war or power, but from kindness, courage. And a promise. A promise made in the ashes. A promise kept by a human.